Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those joining us from the West Coast. Welcome to today's event. My name is Giuseppe. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator at CMC Canada, and I'll be your host for today's session. We have a very exciting lineup of speakers today who will be presenting valuable insights into the opportunities available through CMC Canada and all the benefits you have as a member of the association. Here's a quick overview of what we will cover today. So to start, we will start with a presentation on the value of the CMC designation and the value of being a member, followed by insights into the mentorship program, task forces, membership benefits, certification, and MAS. To wrap up, we'll have a Q&A session where we will address any questions you may have and also the questions brought up during the presentations. However, feel free to type your questions at any time during the webinar, but remember, we will address them during the Q&A at the end. So let's dive right in and kick things off with Sophie. Sophie, welcome. She has been involved with CMC Canada for the past 7 years as Quebec's Regional Director, Vice Chair, and she's now ending her term in April as Chair. She has been involved in her province for more than 12 years in many committees as participant and also Chair. She mentored more than 30 candidates to the CMC title and is actively engaged in recruitment and development activities. Sophie, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Josette. Hello, everybody. Very pleased to meet you. So what I'll talk about is really the value of your CMC Canada Association and your designation. I'd like to start with really the professional path, because some of you, we have a diverse crowd. So some of you are already CMCs, others are consultants, others are thinking of being consultants. We have students, diversity. So I always feel appropriate that when you match the professional path with the value of the designation and the association, well, it gives you a better understanding. So on my side, I know I have a weird background, but I started as a microbiologist. Then I became a manager. Then I did, of course, my MBA and all of that. But at the end of, I don't know, maybe 20 years, I was thinking, okay, what's my next step? And I wanted to provide value to the market. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to learn. I wanted to do something completely different. So I decided to become, why not, a consultant. And it was by accident that I was aware of the CMC title at the time, so a couple of years ago. You have to understand that every province has, so we call them certifying institutes. Every province has their own way of promoting the CMC title. And in my province, in Quebec, it's through the OAAQ, so the Chartered Administrators of Quebec. So I was a member of that, I had my Chartered Administrator title, and all of a sudden I saw a publicity that mentioned CMC title, so Certified Management Consultant, and I was like, oh, wow, this is what I do, this is who I am, and it defined me right just by seeing the title. And so I decided to then start the process of certification. Now, the process of certification, in my opinion, is one of the greatest value this whole designation gives us. So and I can tell you that because like Gisette said in the introduction, I mentor a lot of people when they tell me that they want to start being a consultant in management. I start working with them and they have lots of questions. How do I start with that? Do I start with that? I have a client. What should I put in my proposal? What do I do now that I have to present the findings, the diagnosis? How does it work? And so, in my opinion, just the path to get certified is giving you all the tools you need to be one of the greatest consultants you can get. So the courses that are offered, sometimes mandatory, and the ethics as well, will give you some kind of a path in your consulting business, and you become the professionals of consultancy, if I can say, if I can use this word. And so by doing that, through the path, I did some volunteer work. I decided, because you want to do BD when you're a consultant, so how do you develop your business? Well, I found that doing that through my CI was the first, so my institute was one of the first important step for me in terms of developing networking and understanding more and more and learning with other consultants. And that's how I became involved afterwards. So my certifying institute then thought it would be a good idea, and I think they were right, that I start volunteering with the CMC Canada. And this is how I joined the board of CMC Canada for about 5 years, and then I became vice chair and now chair, as Josette mentioned. So I've learned that CMC Canada gave me the opportunity to network with great consultants coast to coast, keen professionals in each our own industry, or I would say professionalism. And so I can count on my peers now, and because I have peers coast to coast now, and so it has brought me a whole different perspective. CMC Canada is the association that has a liaison with ICMCI, which is the international body that is also in charge of our titles. So they provide us with guidance and that make our designation equivalent worldwide. And this is why we also have privileges with our designation to be able to work all over the world, because we have understanding with different countries. And so CMC Canada is the stewardship of the designation. And then we have 7 certifying institutes. So you have one in British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic altogether. And so we work all together in trying to create, I would say, of course, added value throughout our country. So we are 15 people on the board of directors, very dedicated people. We put our competencies and expertise on the table to define the vision of this association, where we can bring the title, bring value to the title. And we are, of course, working closely with national office. So those great people that you will meet today that are also making everything possible. And you'll find out today, so I don't want to overstep on anybody's toes, and they'll present you all the professional development and program we offer. And that's, of course, because of the National Association. In terms of the value of CMC Canada, well, as I already told you, we are the guardian of the common standards. So the ethics in consulting is so important and crucial. And I can also tell you that if ever, because sometimes we do, contracts, or we work together with different consultants. I know when I work with the CMC, it changes everything. We have the same ethics, we treat clients the same way, and we have the common body of knowledge. So we understand how we should be leading any work we do with a client with our 5 steps. And so it gives us same language, and it facilitates and it brings excellence into consulting. So really, if you haven't gone through those courses, I strongly recommend it. It's available and fostered by CMC Canada, and they are I think the greatest value in the learnings you get through that. Also at CMC Canada, we also work hard in advocating for title. Actually, last year we had our first Hill Day, so lobbying with the government, federal government. I was part of that with a great team. We were a lot of people, a lot of members were there. So first, it got us a sense of community, which was really great, and it made us also lobby for our title, the value, and all the scandals that are happening with consultants. Well, we were able to defend the title, defend that we have standards, ethics, and so to value the title into any work the government is seeking for with consultants. So, and we're planning another day, of course, as you know, with everything's happening on the Hill. We would have wanted it this spring. I think it's going to be postponed later on, just to make sure the government is, I would say, stabilized maybe, and so that our lobbying is also giving us the impact that is desired. So we work a lot on advocating, the title. I already told you, networking. I think those people, those CMCs are a highly valuable professional that put their competencies on the table. So anytime you have a question, you have someone competent to ask, you meet great people, dedicated people. So I think, so the networking is just it's not only to know people, but to know people that can bring you to your next level and also develop you. Already mentioned, we're in charge also of professional development. So we offer different courses because as consultants, especially in management, you're supposed to be in front of your clients, right? Because you bring your value to your clients. So having a professional development, for example, in AI is so important. So always be on top. And as a CMC, we're obliged to do a certain amount of hours of professional development. And so our association also provides professional development opportunities tailored to what we need. So, and developed by us, by CMCs, for CMC. So what else can you ask? And we also go and seek for other competencies if we need to. There's a lot of events. Each province has its own, each certifying institute has its own events, and CMC Canada, like today, provides you a great opportunity to meet and to know and learn more. Affinity programs, you'll learn more today, so I won't go through that yet because we have great partners that are here today, and I take the opportunity to thank them very well. And now, to complete my presentation, I hope I've already told you about the value of the designation, but if you haven't been there at the beginning of my presentation, well, like I said, I think the certification process is one of the best value I got, and I see other people getting for the designation. So the path, you have courses, you're accompanied by professional CMCs that are there throughout your experience. You have an oral assessment, just doing the oral assessment in front of your peers, and then realizing that you're now in charge of knowing how can I say that? You're the professional of consultancy, so you know the process and how to guide your client through the consultancy process. That brings you also to a highest standard. Network, I've already told you. Ethics, again, ethics is so important, and that's probably one of the best things that I appreciate about my designation, that it's a seal, a guarantee seal that I'm ethical in my approach, and that is also so needed in the market right now. We have the common body of knowledge, like I told you before, so that's one of the courses that we're so proud of, and we're offering it, and there's a lot of great minds that are working on updating it constantly, and that brings us to our methodology as a CMC, again, being the masters of the methodology of consultancy, so important. In terms of credibility, well, every time I meet a new client, a potential client, when I say that I have this CMC designation, they say, oh yeah, and then I explain it. Again, with the ethics, it gives us great credibility and more assurance as well when you present yourself. And of course, lifelong learning. You can also benefit from that with all the professional growth. And just to also complete my presentation, I recently got awarded the fellowship CMC, so I'm now a fellow CMC, and that's also recognition that our organization provides to people that also get involved, because yes, it also means that you're involved and you're doing presentation and you're helping your organization to grow, and you're recruiting also other people to understand the value of the designation. And so that's a great recognition. So voila, Josette, I hope I wasn't too long. I hope I met the mandate you gave me. Now I'm giving it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Sophie. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from Rodney Evely, who will be presenting on the mentorship program. Rodney, welcome. Rodney is a fellow CMC as well, and a technology executive with extensive expertise in artificial intelligence governance at the executive level. He specializes in Gen AI platforms, cloud-based data analytics, and strategic digital transformation architecture. Rodney is skilled at guiding organizations through their evolving IT needs and much more. Rodney, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Josette. I'd like also to take a moment and offer a congratulations and my sincerest of thanks to my national colleagues in inviting me here today to speak about mentoring. If we could move to the next slide, Josette, be great. So this program was started about 5 years ago, along with the Pro Bono program. I am co-managing the mentoring program with CMC National, and I'm extremely grateful for their support and stewardship as we've made this a resounding success on behalf of CMC-Canada. Some critical success factors from a mentoring perspective. We can see 4 bubbles here, and the multidisciplinary and mentorship relationships are key in understanding mentoring and moving forward on that file. The standardization of the mentorship processes is equally as important as well, including exposing students and associates to experienced CMC members and engaging in knowledge transfer activities between seniors to intermediates to juniors, and juniors to seniors as well. So it's a two-way street, and we found it very, very successful. And of course, we develop a communication and strategy for attaining specific academic and personal skills as well. So it's there are four pillars of strengths here from a mentoring perspective, and we found that mentees and mentors have certainly gained experiences respectively based on those CSFs. Move to the next slide. Thank you. So when we were conducting surveys related to mentoring, we decided to put forward a vision statement for mentoring, and that is to be a reciprocal and collaborative relationship to benefit mentor and mentee, not just the mentee, but mentor as well, from a growth, a learning, career, and development perspective. So it's very, very important that we recognize that it's certainly a two-way learning process, and we found those relationships to be extremely important and salient to the overall knowledge transfer process. Introducing the concept of management consulting. So management consulting, as my colleague Sophie had mentioned earlier, very, very important as an independent professional advisory service. We assist clients, managers, executive teams in order to strengthen their objectives and, of course, solve some of their management level business problems, helping them identify new opportunities, and, of course, learning around and implementing those respective changes. So we are the consultant to the client, and of course, at the end of the day, our vision and our edifice is to ensure that that client is successful. Moving forward. So who are we? We pride ourselves, CMC Canada, We are over 2,000 members. We're well over 1,100 certified management consultants. We are certainly an embodiment of all verticals. We work in all verticals. We specialize in many different facets of business, such as strategy, organizational change, marketing, HR, finance. And of course, we serve all the sectors such as public, private, health, university, research, and of course, non-for-profit. And I'll speak to that in just a few moments as it relates to the other program that I am intrinsically involved in, which is pro bono consulting for CMC Canada. Next chart. Thank you. So a program approach to mentorship, and that's where we look at the success and experienced mentors share their skills and knowledge with their mentees, and that there is that two-way relationship between the mentor and the mentee. And of course, it is a very structured methodology based on the common body of knowledge, which is being updated as we speak. And of course, industry best practices as well. That's what it's in there for the mentor. Advantages for the mentee is providing the mentee with access to a considerable amount of knowledge on behalf of the CMC, which tends to be, I guess, a nominal around 10 plus years of experience. Some go as high as 25 to 30 years of experience, such as myself. And of course, the expansion of understanding of CMC's vision, values, goals, and of course, as Sophie mentioned earlier, our ethics. Next chart. Thank you. What is the value to prospective mentees? Promoting a development culture, providing broader external consulting context, taking you for a moment and walking you through some of the many projects, programs, and mandates that we manage as executive consultants or as CMCs and FCMCs, increasing that knowledge sharing, driving performance, and of course, expanding your network reach as you start to work with and be trained and be knowledge transferred by mentors at the CMC level. We move forward. Value proposition for mentees on the mentee side, facilitating development of skills. You can see our benefits from that perspective. Widens professional network of the mentee, boosts self-esteem and professional confidence. Mentorship can certainly enable a promotion on the part of the mentee itself. And of course, it deepens the understanding of the field of management consulting, and specifically around the framework of management consulting, because when you start a relationship with a mentor, there is a mentoring contract, and there are various topics that we hope you'll bring to the table so that we can outline in that contract, and we can make sure that you're getting the attention that you so rightfully deserve as you start to build your relationship with your mentor. Moving forward. Build a mentor-mentee relationship. So very, very important here, from an increasing the performance of the mentee to the value proposition, and of course, the mentoring protocol. That relationship between mentor and mentee is absolutely crucial. And of course, getting that valued knowledge and ensuring that you are in synergy with your mentor is very, very important. So we have a mentoring board, and we have mentors with their specific skill sets. You can go up and take a look at that. The team can send the links to you accordingly. And you can have a look at myself, for example, or many of my colleagues who offer mentoring skills, and you can look at our skills and see if they synergize with your wants and needs and desires to be a mentee and to gain that perspective from your respective mentor. Moving forward. Roles and responsibilities, very, very important on the part of the mentor and mentee, not just the mentee, but on the mentee side, be prepared before the mentoring sessions. Make sure that you've garnered your agenda of topics and that you are ready to discuss them with your mentor. Provide mentor feedback so you can adjust the content and context of that specific session. And of course, if a session is to be rescheduled, please inform the mentor around 5 days in advance so that he or she can obviously reschedule and refactor their respective schedules. Moving forward. That is the presentation. Now that would be on the mentoring side. As Josette had mentioned, I am the chair or the overall director of the pro bono program within CMC Canada. That program was started about 5 years ago. And currently we are in partnership with Mass of Toronto. They are a broker that brokers into charities. We focus on charities that deal with hostels for battered women, for sexual abuse, for physical abuse. We deal with all those types of issues, and we are happy to lend out our CMCs for up to 20 hours of free consulting to those charities. You have to be a charity. You have to be able to provide the documentation that will speak to that. And we are really, really proud and happy to state that we've finished 10 projects to date. We have 9 projects on the board, and we're hoping at the end of Q1 to have finished up to 20 mandates from a pro bono perspective. We started out in Ottawa. We've expanded out onto the Ontario landscape. And now, as the pro bono team has grown from 2 to 5 consultants and 5 present and or current executives, we are expanding that program across Canada. So very, very proud of the pro bono program. You have to be a CMC to be a lead consultant in that program, but there's crossover between that and mentoring. You can be as a mentee to a CMC engaged in a pro bono project. That's always an opportunity as well. And lots to share, lots to be proud of. And just said, I think I'll pass it over to you. And thank you everyone for your attention this afternoon.
All right. Thank you very much, Rodney. We all at National Office thank you for your time today and definitely for everything you do for the association and its members. Thank you so much. All right. So moving along, we are going to hear from Marcia Bison now, who will give us an overview of the CMC certification streams and pathways. Marcia is the manager of certification at CMC-Canada. She guides and support members throughout their certification process while coordinated with our CIs to ensure that all candidates meet the CMC certification requirements and expectations. Marcia, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you, Josette, and hello to everybody. As Josette mentioned, I am the certification manager here at CMC Canada, and today I'm going to just give a brief overview of how to begin or how to start the process of becoming designated, and then also what steps might be expected along the way. So the first thing to do is first become a member. And once you have become a member, then you can reach out to me directly and submit your resume to me. And then once received, I will then share it with the Certifying Institute to review, and also what we like to call select a stream. So once a stream has been determined, I then reach back out, letting you know what's been decided, and then provide also all of the steps that would need to be completed within the process. So moving on to certification streams. So highlighted here are all of the streams within the certification program, which includes the prerequisites for each. If we focus on the experience column, beginning with the MBA stream, we'd be looking for anyone who has graduated from an approved accredited program with less than 8 years of consulting experience. Entry stream, actively consulting with less than 8 years of experience. Experience stream, actively consulting for the immediate past year and has at least 8 years of consulting experience. And then finally, we have our executive stream. We actually have 2 sets of criteria. First is the executive one, and that is for those who are actively consulting for the immediate past year, minimum 3 years of consulting and 15 years of executive experience. And then finally, executive 2, actively consulting for the immediate past year and has 10 years executive experience leading a consulting firm. Specific to the education, we'd be looking for, within the MBA stream, a university degree from that accredited program. I was thinking of official transcript. Sorry, I apologize. And then for the entry and experience stream, we'd be looking for a candidate to have a university degree, a professional designation, or if they do not have either of those, then we would look for a degree equivalency. So moving on to certification requirements. So identified here are all the steps within the process and how to, which as it pertains to each stream. So if we begin with the CMC sponsors, you'll notice that regardless of what stream someone is following, there is a requirement for CMC sponsors. With the exception of Ontario, all Ontario candidates are not required any longer to have a sponsor. They made that change about 2 years ago. Moving on to coursework, you'll notice that the majority of the courses would need to be completed through the MBA or entry stream, whereby the Experience and Executive stream only has one course, which is that ethical behavior best practices that Sophie has spoken about. And then the final phase would be the peer and oral assessment phase. Now, just as a quick note, in order to get to that particular phase, all candidates must have at least 3 years or 3,600 hours of consulting experience. So within this particular phase, there are 3 steps. The first is engagement summaries. As you can see, the executive stream does not have a requirement for engagement summaries, whereas the MBA entry and experience streams do. The numbers reflect how many summaries they would need to submit. Moving on to client references, all candidates must submit client contact details, and the numbers reflect how many they would need to submit. And then the final step in the process would be the oral assessment, and this is where the candidate would meet with 2 CMC assessors. So the final step, so once the oral assessment has been completed, the assessors will then provide their evaluations back to the national office, and it takes on average between 1 and 2 days for that to be received. When the results have been received, we then submit those evaluations as well as all other documentation back to the certifying institute for review. And on average, a decision is typically made between 5 to 10 business days. And when that decision has been made, either myself from the national office or the institute will reach out to the candidate and let them know what decision has been made. So just lastly, one last thing, I just wanted to highlight both our foundations and our executive program. Both of these programs have been designed for candidates who wish to move through the process in a more structured way, where deadlines are provided to ensure completion of all steps rather quickly. We will be offering 2 sessions for the foundations program this year, one in the spring and one in the fall. And that particular program is tailored towards those who have been approved within the MBA or entry stream. The executive program is going to be offered April, June, and October of this year, and that is tailored towards those who have been approved into the experienced and executive stream. If you have any questions or wish to have, get a little bit more information about either of those programs, you can find that information on our website, or you can reach out to me directly. And just one final thing to state, each candidate is unique in their experience and also their education. So I strongly recommend, if you have any questions, if you want to get just a little bit more clarity on what your journey might look like, I'm happy to have a conversation. Please feel free to reach out. I would love to chat with you. So with that, I will send it back to Josette.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Definitely, every candidate's different. So yeah, encouraged for those one-on-one conversations to move on through the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome our membership team at National Office, Janine Krasinowski and Allison Watcher. Allison is the Director of Membership Development at CMC Canada. She is responsible for leading the strategic direction and execution of initiatives aimed at the recruitment and retention of members. Janine is the Member Relations Coordinator and MAS Program Administrator. She handles membership queries and member application process. She also coordinates member profiles and facilitates communications between prospective members and CI councils. Allison, Janine, welcome, and over to you.
So I'm gonna talk to you guys about the CMC Canada body of knowledge. Sophie mentioned how this is kind of the foundation of our association. I'll be talking about the methodologies first, the textbook that is used in our essentials course, as well as various courses throughout the country on management consulting. I'm pleased to announce that later this year we will be launching the new edition of the methodologies textbook. This textbook is free for all members, and you'll have access to it. It will provide you with structured approaches for tackling complex client challenges, serving as both a learning tool for emerging consultants and a reference guide for seasoned professionals. Josette, if you want to go to the next slide. Another way we contribute to our body of knowledge is through our task forces, which are small project-focused groups of CMCs, associate members, and student members. And on February 6th, we will be launching a set of consulting resources developed in 2024 by our CMC-Canada task forces. These practical guides and templates will help consultants navigate every phase of an engagement, from initial client discussions and preparing bids to implementation and follow-up. You'll be able to find resources on scoping a project, conducting analyses, or managing change, and they'll provide structure and efficiency, helping you deliver even greater value to your clients. Josette? So this is just kind of explaining it. All right, so we are also going to be launching tomorrow the applications for the 2025 task courses. These are going to be focused on creating case studies. Our first two task forces are going to be focused on producing case studies for AI adoption in consulting and sustainability strategies. And these case studies will be used in things like roundtables, training, case study competitions, and discussion forums. So if you're passionate about these topics and have feel like you can contribute, we encourage you to get involved. So as you can see, our body of knowledge is built by consultants for consultants, and it's your guys' input and expertise that help ensure that our profession continues to evolve and adapt to the changing business landscape. Right, and I think that's everything. Yep. And then we'll pass it over to Allison.
Thanks, Janine. Hi, everyone. I just want to remind everyone that we do have the Q&A. If you want to put any of your questions in there, please feel free to. We'll have a Q&A at the very end of the presentation, but I know there's a lot of information being shared today, so feel free to put those questions in while we're going through all these presentations. Hi, everyone. If you're a member of CMC Canada, you already know the value of being part of a strong professional network and the CMC community. But did you know your membership always comes with exclusive perks and ongoing professional development opportunities? Through our affinity partner programs, you get access to exclusive discounts and services, whether it's insurance, courses, or business tools. These partnerships help you save money, giving you more time to focus on your clients and your growth. One of these tools is a TN visa, which provides CMC's recognition towards the Canadian, United States, Mexico agreement requirements to work as a management consulting professional in the United States and pre-arranged business activities for US or foreign employers. And now I'm going to introduce you to some of our affinity partners who will be joining us shortly to discuss what they offer. First speaker we were going to have today is Nancy Boyer from Erickson Coaching International. Erickson is a solution-focused coaching and professional development programs, which was introduced to CMC by a CMC, and we're so excited for this partnership. After that, we'll have Brent Cartwright from BMS for professional insurance. I've only heard several times from our members how much they have saved with BMS insurance. Brent will show us all how we can too. Max Mercer from Bel Air Direct and Johnson for auto, home, and medical insurance. I personally have switched to Bel Air Direct for home and auto insurance and have saved over $1,000 a year with this affinity program, so I highly recommend it. And Johnson offers personal health and dental benefit plans that are affordable. Max will dive into this a little bit more on the details of the program. And then we have Mark Hurwitz, a CMC from FlipU, which is our newest affinity partner. FlipU has an incredible lineup of professional development courses available at a discount price for CMC members. And Mark will give us a peek at what they offer today. At CMC Canada, we also offer top-tier professional development to keep you ahead of the curve. From certification programs and executive training to webinars and networking events, we provide the learning opportunities you need to stay competitive and elevate your consulting experience. CMCs can submit an RFP to offer blogs, webinars, and professional development opportunities at CMC Canada by scanning the QR code on this slide. So we have a couple of QR codes on the slide here. We're also going to be sending this out to, in our follow-up email, a link where you can submit for these RFPs to submit blogs or webinars or professional development opportunities at CMC Canada. And on the next slide, you can see our upcoming live events. And there's a link there as well. Again, we'll be following up with an email with all this information. And we also have our on-demand courses that are offered, like ISO 2700. And we have another speaker, Garrett Wozniak, another CMC as well, joining us today, as he is the instructor of our Chat GPT and Gen I for Management Consultants on-demand course. He will walk us through what the course offers. And also, I want to give a big congratulations to Garrett on being named one of MYCPE's AI and Technology Educators of the Year. So being a part of CMC Canada offers many opportunities to help you succeed. To learn more, visit CMC Canada and make the most of your membership. And now I'm going to turn it over to our affinity and professional development speakers. So over to you first, Nancy, to talk about Ericsson Coaching International. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and thanks everyone for having me. So honored and thrilled to be here on behalf of Ericsson Coaching International. We change the world one conversation at a time, and what I want to talk about today is how you can consult and coach to even up-level your skills even more and really connect with your clients at a next level. Could I have the next slide, please? So I went through the program in 2013. I'm really proud of that. It's changed my life for the positive in so many ways. I'm a professional certified coach. I'm a facilitator and mentor with Ericsson, and I just love being part of our community. Next slide. This is Louise. She is our CEO for Ericsson. She is open to do speaking engagements on certain topics like conflict to collaboration, leading with impact, and courageous conversations. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to me or even Francis at ericsson.edu or Nancy Boyer at ericsson.edu, and we're happy to book Louise for you and your organization. And then really the results are in the results are in the organization. So you can see increase in job satisfaction went up to 61% with coaching, increase in teamwork goes up 67%. It's because people are being heard at a different level and they feel valued, and that's why the results go up as well. Next slide. These are the organizations that we partner with. One of the biggest organizations that we partner with is SAP. They've sent over 600 of their employees through our program to go back and do internal coaching in their community. And then, of course, we do customize and or bringing our coaches and our learners into the program so that they can learn and grow. So if that's something you're interested in, I can also talk to you about that, how it could be one of the curriculums we already have or maybe a customized curriculum. Next slide, please. I'm going to show you some of Ericsson's programs if you want to go to the next slide. So we are certified by the International Coach Federation, ICF. And with that, there's different levels that you can take as a coach. The first one is level 1, where you go through our Essentials program, which is our introduction to coaching. It's a solution-focused model, and that's 16 weeks online or 8 days on site. You'll see a couple of the on-sites that we have coming up. They're great locations. And then you do a level 1 mentor bundle where you're in a group mentoring course, as well as you have one-on-one mentoring. And then you take the oral assessment. With that, you would be an Ericsson accredited coach. Once you have 100 hours of coaching, you can submit to the ICF. Once they accept you, you take their credentialed exam. It's a multiple choice exam. After that, you would be ACC level for level 1. For level 2, you're going to go even deeper. You're also going to get our advanced course to even learn even more methodologies and deeper coaching. You also, of course, reflect as an individual and grow personally through coaching and being coached. And then you go to the level 2 mentor bundle, where you also have a group coaching course, but then you have 6 one-on-ones with Erickson mentors of your choice to prepare you for an oral assessment at a PCC level, a professional certified coach. At the end of that, you're an Erickson certified professional coach. And once you have 500 hours, you submit to the ICF. And once they accept you, take their credentials exam, and you would be a professional certified coach as well. We also have other programs, one that I was thinking about as I'm listening to your great presentations, and that would be the International Train the Trainer program. If you're looking to present or have leadership skills, advance your coaching skills, I went through that program. It's one of my favorite programs. You really integrate the learning as you go by preparing curriculum and presenting it at the program. And then we also have team coaching, which is really important right now. A lot of people are doing group coaching to go along with AI. And so that's something that you could consider as well. And we'd be happy to do that individually in one of our courses or for your organization. Next slide, please. And here are some of the wonderful sites that you could go to. We have Germany, Amsterdam, Mexico, Italy, Austin, Texas, you name it. We are going to have some great experiences. Either it's the Essentials Part 1 and or Essentials whole program and or advanced course that we're offering. And it's a great experience to network, learn, grow, and really advance your skills in listening as well as coaching. And so those are some opportunities. And of course, we still have our online courses as well that we really have a lot of different options to really deal with the different time zones we have. But you being in Canada, you're right on our Pacific time. Erickson is out of Vancouver, Canada. And so the times would also suit your schedules beautifully. Next slide, please. And then just again, the partnership that we have with the ICF, we're extremely proud of. It's been over 20 years. And now we even do webinars with them in partnership so that we can really make sure that our learners that are in the program, as well as our alumni, understand the requirements, and we're there to support them through it as a partnership. Next slide, please. So again, you don't have to take our word for it. We do have a lot of alumni that be happy to talk to you, as well as the statistics are on the slide. The ROI, 221%, according to the recent study, that coaching has improved the performance and the communication in organizations and leadership. So it's something that we're proud of. It's something that we've worked hard on. We also got the Best Impact Award from the ICF this year, which is something that we are proud to share with you, and another reason that Erickson really stands out as a unique provider. Next slide. I want to thank you so much. As a CMC member, you definitely get the opportunity to have a discount on the tuition. So if you want to reach out to me, Nancy Boyer at erickson.edu, we're really happy to have you, or we can connect on LinkedIn as well. And with that, I want to hand it over to Brent Cartwright with BMS, who's going to take it from here. Brent?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nancy. And thank you to everyone else. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of BMS Group. So my name is Brent Cartwright. I am a registered insurance broker here with BMS. And I'm here today to talk to you about the Arizona Emissions Insurance Program that we have in place for CMC-Canada members. So I'll briefly go into the coverage and kind of some of the benefits of that program. So before I get into the coverage itself and the program, I just wanted to talk to everyone a little bit about BMS as a whole. Who is BMS? What do we do? So we are a specialty insurance brokerage in that we really focus on working with professionals and business owners, really, and those who are providing a professional service to clients across really a wide variety of industries. But more specifically, we really focus on that Arizona emissions insurance, as well as professional liability. That's kind of our specialty. That's where we focus on. So whether it's individuals or business owners, that's where we're able to help. And what's a little bit unique about BMS is that we really focus on working with associations to build these programs for their members. Just like what we have with CMC Canada, we work with dozens of associations across Canada to build these programs that are kind of created specifically for the needs of their members. So we have a team of brokers here on hand that really work specifically on these group programs. So if ever anyone needs help, we have a team here in place to help with any of our insureds through any of our various group programs. Perfect. So now I'm going to talk about the CMC Canada program specifically. So like I said, we provide errors and omissions insurance, among other coverages, which I'll get into, but we have a program built specifically for CMC Canada members. Now, there are a wide variety of benefits to having this form of program, and essentially we're able to work directly with CMC Canada to build out the program, which helps us obtain really market-leading coverage that's really tailored to a management consultant. Obviously, we're insurance brokers, we're not experts on management consulting, so CMC Canada comes in where we can really work collectively to develop a program that has a product that really suits the needs of their members. And by doing this, we're also able to get very competitive premiums, as Allison had mentioned in the intro there earlier, because we're able to go to insurers with an entire program of hundreds of members who are looking to insure. We're able to get very competitive premiums, and then, like I said, coverage that's really tailored to that specific profession. On top of that, through the program, we have very simple, very fast, and very effective technology in terms of putting coverage in place as a member. So because we have the products predetermined with the insurer and with CMC Canada, you as members are able to simply go online, apply for coverage, get a quote, and have it put in place really right away. So it's a very quick process to get access to that coverage. Next slide, please. Perfect. So that was a little overview on the benefits of the group program. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is errors and omissions insurance, and why do I need it as a management consultant? And really the name kind of explains it a little bit. And it's to cover you in the event that you were to make or there to be allegations that you have made an error or an omission in your professional capacity as a management consultant. So essentially, if a client were to allege that your work caused them to have financial loss, you made a mistake, and it caused some sort of trouble for them, and they were to pursue you legally for that error. Now, the key component here in this description is really the word alleged as well. You may be thinking, I'm very good at my job, I'm very smart, I'm very careful, I'm never going to make a major error, so I don't need this insurance, I'll be fine. But what we see is a lot is it's protection in the event of allegations, whether you're found negligent or not. So a lot of the time we will see, and I'll get into an example after this, but we will see there's accusations that you made a mistake, whether you did or not. There still can be legal costs to defend against those allegations. And that's where that errors and omissions insurance will come into place. It'll cover those legal costs to defend yourself against those allegations. So just a really quick example here. So I'll just read it off. So you've been hired by a large hospital to help modernize and digitize their online record-keeping system. The scope of work was not properly characterized, which led to substantial delays and additional costs. The client sues you, alleging you did not fully investigate and you made a plan with unrealistic assumptions. So again, this comes back to the allegations, where whether you actually made a mistake here or perhaps in this circumstance, the real scope of work wasn't properly outlined in the contract that you may have signed. But in this case, the client is suing you because they're deeming that it was your mistakes that led to these delays and these extra costs. So they're pursuing you for the errors that you made that led to that financial burden on the company. So in this particular example, that errors and omissions insurance is going to be in place to cover two main components. So it'll cover the legal defense costs. So in this circumstance, you're going to have to hire a lawyer to pay or to defend you against these allegations. So it'll cover all those legal costs for that lawyer. And then in the event there is a settlement or damages awarded to your client, it can also cover those costs as well. So as one can imagine, if you don't have errors and omissions insurance in place and something like this were to arise and you had to pay for those legal costs out of your pocket or out of the company's budget, it can really take a toll. As I'm sure we know, those legal costs can get very, very expensive, and it can drag on for a long period of time. So this really kind of outlines the importance of having that errors and omissions insurance in place to make sure that in this incident, again, whether you were negligent or it's just allegations and you actually did nothing wrong, there can still be risk involved as a professional. Now, that's just a quick overview of the errors and omissions insurance, which really is the kind of the primary coverage. It's what essentially would suggest pretty well any professional to carry. Now, with that being said, through the CMC Canada program, we do offer a number of additional coverages that you would have access to through the program. I'll go through a couple of those very briefly, and then we can go into more specifics later on if anyone has questions. But so first we can look at commercial general liability. So this covers you or your business in the event of a third-party bodily injury or property damage. Most common example of needing this coverage is if you're renting an office space. If you work out of an office, or if you're going to clients' offices, for example, to meet with them, this covers you in the event that a client were to, they slip and fall, they injure themselves, and they're pursuing you because the floor was wet and now they can't work and so forth. So they're pursuing you for damages that bodily injury caused. So that's super important to have really in any circumstance where you're operating in person with clients, if you're, like I said, going to their office, or if you have your own office space. We can also do property coverage. Again, this would be your kind of more standard property coverage if there was a fire or water damage in your office. Now, again, we focus really more on the commercial side. So this would be if you're renting an office space for your business, we can provide that sort of property coverage. And then cybersecurity and privacy liability has become a very, very important coverage over the last few years. We're just seeing cyber incidents occur more and more frequently, as I'm sure everyone sees those fraudulent emails that they get, or the phone calls and text messages. So this is an insurance policy to cover, again, a wide variety of costs that could occur in the event of a breach of privacy or a cyber attack. So if you click on one of those links and it hacks in your computer and all of your clients' financial information or any personal information is all leaked or taken, it can cover really a wide variety of costs tied to that sort of incident. And then a couple other ones. We have a family cyber, so it's similar but more on a personal level. Employment practices liability covers a business for claims made by their employees. And then lastly is legal services. So we have a number of legal service options where, for example, a legal services package, you can get access to a legal helpline where if you just wanted to speak with a lawyer briefly, had a couple quick questions, you can buy that package and you'd have access to that throughout the year. So just a few additional products that we can provide through the CMC Canada program. And again, these are all available through that online application, or you can contact us as well. And our information is on the next slide here. Perfect. So that's it for me. Like I said, if I went through it fairly quickly, fairly briefly, but if anyone has any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out. The online application is on the screen there as well. But like I said, we have a dedicated team of brokers here on hand who are happy to help answer any questions, go through the application, provide quotes, anything like that. So thank you again to everybody. And now I'm going to pass it on to Max Mercer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brent. So hello, everyone. I just, first of all, yeah, my name is Max Mercer, and I too am a consultant at Bel Air Direct. And I'd also just like to say a big thank you to Allison for sharing that story about how much you've saved through the Affinity Insurance Program. We always love to hear those stories for sure. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to be here today. And I'm going to just kind of quickly go through some of the benefits and the coverages that you can avail of through the new program that we've just recently established. So I guess the first thing I'll just say is that the program started back in April of 2023, and at the time we were known as a Johnson Insurance. So you're seeing two brands going around and can see some confusion. Essentially, what had happened is that Intact has acquired Johnson Insurance, and we're in the process now of rebranding over to belairdirect, which is one of their big brands. So just a brief little history on kind of who belairdirect is. It's a really cool story. They actually started off as a group of taxi drivers in Montreal, Quebec, and they couldn't find affordable insurance. So they actually got together and ended up creating their own insurance company, which is belairdirect. And that name comes from one of the most popular vehicles of that time, which is the Chevrolet Bel Air. So since then, they've been basically leading in the digital space for insurance solutions. In 1997, they were the first insurance company in North America to offer an online insurance quote, which is incredible considering 1997. I never even had like a computer, so really cool story. And then of course, today we have about 2,000 employees right across Canada. That slide needs to be updated. We're actually now about 70 years old. And if you've heard any of our commercials or seen our billboards, you'll know that our motto is insurance simplified. And really that's kind of what we're trying to do, the mantra of what we're trying to do, because we understand that, insurance is one of those things that are a little complex, but it's very important. So basically our goal is to kind of break down those barriers and simplify the insurance process so that you can buy the right products at the right price for confidence. So moving into the next one, I won't go through all of the different coverages that you can avail of. But essentially, as a CMC Canada member, you're able to avail of basically an enhanced product. So just for being a CMC Canada member, when you call to let us know that, will we add a Affinity Plus endorsement to your profile or your policies that basically upgrades all of your coverage. And then in addition, you're also getting a discount on your home and your auto policies. That discount, it does vary depending on where you're situated in Canada and what type of policy you have, but it usually is about an extra 5 to 15% off. I'll also say that when we say that we have a home and car group insurance program, when we talk about home, that can be anything from a tenant's policy, if you're renting, if you're a condominium owner, or if you're just a homeowner. And then under car, we have, your typical private passenger daily driving vehicle, as well as recreational vehicles. So if you have a snowmobile or an ATV that you're looking to insure as well. So just going down through some of these coverages here. So the preferred rates, of course, is one of being a CMC Canada member. And to avail of that, I'll just say when you call to get a quote, just tell the agent that you do belong to CMC Canada. Or if you're going online, when you're doing the quote, there's a page that says, are you a part of an affinity group? And you would just put in CMC Canada there as well. There's also a lot of self-service functionality right now. So the mobile app is something that we've just recently launched, and it's fantastic to use. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And then you also get the exclusive benefits and increased limits that I mentioned earlier. So a couple of those I'll just touch on right now is if you have a property policy with us, automatically you're going to have up to $20,000 for jewelry coverage. And that's typically far above what the retail market or non-affinity market would be offering. And what that means is that you don't actually have to go out and purchase an appraisal for your engagement or your wedding ring. You automatically have $20,000 coverage included, no questions asked. We also are available, of course, for claims 24/7. And a really cool thing that we have now is a claims service guarantee. So if you are making a claim on your home or your auto policy, you are basically within 30 minutes of your call being answered, we'll guarantee that you have your adjuster assigned, that you have their phone number, contact information, and next steps in place. And if not, then we will actually write you a check for the full annual premium of your policy up to $1,000. So just to have that extra assurance that you're not going to be kind of getting the runaround, which some people get sometimes when they're making their claims. So yeah, a lot of great benefits there. We also have identity theft coverage built into the policy at $25,000. Yeah, that's what we'll talk about for the home and auto insurance. The Bel Air Direct mobile app as well is one of our really great tools. I kind of basically compare it to people who like to do their mobile banking now. So of course, you can always contact our offices. We are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But if you want to, have that 24-hour service, you can essentially do anything on your policy, from billing to making a claim to changing coverage, all through that mobile application. And the last thing I'll mention about the mobile app is that there's a very interesting new coverage that we've recently launched called Auto Merit. So if you're someone that is looking for some additional savings on your auto policy, the app can actually, if you consent to it and subscribe to it, can track your driving behavior and provide feedback on your fuel emissions, whether you're abruptly braking and whatnot. So there's some additional savings associated with that. But I always tell people that if you're someone like, I don't want to say like me, but if you have a bit of a heavy foot, probably stay away from the app. And then lastly, we also have our travel insurance. So right now, this is also a Johnson branded product. So it is going to be rebranding into Bel Air Direct in July of this year, along with the group benefits, so for your health and your dental coverage. But the product will still be the same. So right now it is called MEDOC, which stands for Medical Out-of-Country Travel Insurance. And that product is an exclusive product in the sense that you cannot get it on the retail market. So only our partnered affinity groups are able to avail of it. What's really unique about it is that there's an unlimited number of trips throughout the policy year. So a lot of travel policies right now are single trip plans. This one here, you pay for it once throughout the year and you can travel as many times. There are limits about the duration of the trips, but essentially, if you have the 17-day plan or a 35-day plan, but you want to go for longer, you would just give one of our agents a call and we could upgrade that. You can also access the coverage with no, declines due to your age or your health status, which is a really big thing. And then, of course, there's trip cancellation, disruption, and delay insurance coverage. I believe it's actually up to $8,000 per person, which is great. And then we also have a home bonus discount. So if you have our home policy property, as well as our travel policy, you get a 5% discount added back on to your home policy. And we do see a lot of the times, depending on how much your home is or your travel insurance policy is, that discount actually ends up paying for the travel policy. So yeah, a lot of great benefits there on the home, auto, and the travel side. And as I mentioned, we do also offer the health and dental plans for CMC Canada members. But just due to, we're still rebranding that in July, but we'll have more information to share on that soon. So that's all for me. And thanks again. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat.
All right, thank you very much, Max. We are moving on now to Flip You. Mark, welcome.
Hello. Hi there, everybody. I think I'm going to be doing something a little different than most of the rest, and I'm just going to give you a sample of what we do. So Flip You provides mostly for CMC members online courses, and of course, I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So this is just a snippet from one of our online courses, which will hopefully give a taster, but also be some useful content. Just as a, by the way, I am with Flip You, which is the name of our company, but I'm also a professor at the University of Waterloo, and I'm one of the educational partners. I teach CMCs as well. I have a CMC, but my PhD is also in neuroscience, which is where we're going to go with this. So imagine you have been working on a proposal for a client. You've got your team together, you've done a whole lot of analysis, you've got 3 solid options, and now you're going to go get the vice president's decision, and this is going to determine whether or not you get the work. So you go to the vice president, hand him this document, you get a few minutes to talk about it, and after quickly glancing at it, he pipes up and says, I'd like you to do some more analysis and come back in 3 weeks. You're thinking to yourself, what? Like, we've spent weeks and weeks working on this proposal. We've done tons of analysis. What the heck is going wrong here? And I can tell you that there are many things that could be going wrong, but one of the things that we see often is you haven't minded the brain. And that is, there's a neuroscience to persuasion, and this type of persuasion, which can help you have a greater chance of your proposals getting accepted by clients. So our brains have two systems. One is called System 1 and the other is called System 2, and you may have heard about these if you've read any of Daniel Kahneman's work. He's a Nobel Prize winning psychologist. He actually won the Nobel Prize in economics. And System 1 is the part of our brain that processes things fast. It's automatic and it's absolutely effortless. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate to you just how fast, automatic, and effortless this is. I'm going to show you a math problem in just a second, and I'm going to show it to you for 5 seconds. I want you to look at the problem, but I don't want you to solve it, okay? So look at the math problem, but don't solve it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, well, if we were all in a room together, I'd ask you this in person, but I will bet you that of the people on this call, probably 90% of you solved it automatically. How can you not? The answer is 24. And the reason you do that is because your brain just does it automatically. You almost can't stop doing something that is System 1. It takes conscious effort to do that. On the other hand, we have something in our brain which is the System 2. And System 2, by contrast, is slow, deliberate, and effortful. So I'm going to put another math problem up here on the screen. And what I'd like you to do this time is, I'll give you 5 seconds. And in those 5 seconds, I'd like you to actually solve this one. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Did you get a solution? I mean, if you did, you could probably put it in the question thing, but or the chat, you don't have to. Some of you might have, and we could get in a minute to how you actually solved it. But I'll bet that a lot of you just said, oh, Mark's going to tell me the answer in a minute. Actually, I'm not. Or you might have said, oh, it doesn't really matter. No one cares about this math problem. And that's kind of true, but you did solve the previous one, even though all those things apply to that previous question as they do to this one. So what's going on in the brain, and what can you do as a consultant about it? So we can move on. So we naturally avoid System 2 thinking. We avoid it because it takes a lot of energy, and our brain is an energy sink. It uses 20% of all the energy in our body. In fact, our whole body is essentially designed to help our brain have enough energy to work. So anything that takes energy, our brain tries not to do, and that includes System 2 thinking. It's also very slow, as you've just seen. And so, you know, what's 29 times 37? I don't know. It's System 2 thinking. It's going to take me a while to work it out. And maybe I don't have the time, certainly not 5 seconds. It stops us from doing other things. You may be more interested in what I have to say than solving that math problem. Well, at least I hope so. You may have other problems on the mind. We can't do more than one System 2 thing at a time. And if we've got other things impinging on our brain at that point in time, we're not going to do that one. And finally, it takes skill and expertise. And I imagine that those of you who did solve that problem, maybe you quickly, brought out the calculator on your phone, or you have a unique and special skill for doing math problems very quickly, or you know how to estimate. And so you estimated a little and then you subtracted, and whatever it is that you did, it takes skill and expertise to use System 2. All right, so those are the key things you need to know about the brain works. And now let's apply that to this problem that we started off with. So the vice president says, do more analysis and come back in 3 weeks. Maybe what you presented doesn't have sufficient analysis. but it could be one of these other four things, because to say yes to this project is going to require system two thinking. So for example, the brain may not have enough energy to actually work on this problem at that time. And of course, the brain doesn't say, ooh, I don't have enough energy. Instead, it makes up a reason, which is called confabulation. And the reason that the VP is saying is you need more analysis, but it simply may be a lack of sugar. How impactful is that? Well, some neuroscientists and social scientists did research, and they did research on people who were in prison and going up for parole. What they discovered is if you go up for parole first thing in the morning, you have about a 70% chance of getting parole. By the end of the day, that 70% chance drops down to 30%. It's not because the cases at any time of the day are more complex or more difficult, or they're with more dangerous prisoners. It's simply because your brain loses energy throughout the day. What they did was around 2 o'clock, they gave the parole board cookies. They already gave them cookies. And all of a sudden, the parole rates jumped back up to 70%. And so when you're thinking about going into a meeting with someone, if it's not the first thing in the morning, you really have to think about what state of energy is their brain going to have. And if it's not high, you need to bring some kind of glucose-rich treat for them to have so that their brain has enough energy for system two. The second thing is if it's a brief meeting and there's not going to be time for them to really go over the report, then that's another problem that could be happening here. System two requires time. And if you're going to be presenting some kind of a detailed proposal, make sure that there's lots of time to go over it in detail first. We're all used to booking 1 hour meetings. Try booking a 90-minute meeting, or even a 2-hour meeting, because what that signals is that we're going to give a lot of time to look over this proposal, and therefore you don't have to rush through the kind of system two processes that'll be needed to say yes or no to this proposal. Next, how important is this proposal? It may be that the vice president has 3 other things on his mind at that moment, all of which are more important than this. So rather than devote energy to your proposal, he may be thinking of something else. So you need to find ways very early on to highlight the importance of this proposal to the vice president. And finally, expertise. So if you're giving them, say, a detailed IT proposal and they're not an IT person, or a cybersecurity proposal, they're not a cybersecurity proposal, or whatever it happens to be, they may not have the expertise to truly evaluate the proposal. So you have to find the ways to give them the expertise. If I'd have asked you that 29 times 37 question and asked you first to pull up calculators, everyone would have done it in 5 seconds. You've got to provide the equivalent of a calculator. So that's a little sample of one of the many ideas that you'll get for improving your own professional development in one of the courses that we have, Neuroscience at Work, Work Smarter, Not Harder. As you can see, we've got a whole list of other courses, and there's more coming out this year. All of them are designed to significantly improve your ability as a CMC, but also your clients. We are COJG, Canada Ontario Job Grant certified. We can provide all of these courses in person as well as online, which means your clients, at least if they're 25 or smaller people in the group, can leverage their dollars. For every dollar on training they spend, the government will chip in $5. So it's a huge benefit, and our courses are all certified for that as well. So I hope you'll take a look at our website and some of the offerings that we have. We also, of course, do keynotes, especially on the topic of neuroscience, where, as you might guess, I have a lot of additional expertise. Thank you very much. And I would like to pass it over to Garrett.
Can everyone hear me, see me right now? Good, we're excellent. Thanks very much. I'm here today to talk about generative AI, ChatGPT, and its impact on management consultants. But there's been just some breaking news I got to talk about that just released today, which is incredible. You may have heard about DeepSeek, the new model, the new cognitive AI model that was released out of China. And everyone was raving about it, that they were able to develop this model for something like $5 or $6 million, compared to the larger AI giants like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok. Those cost minimum $100 million at least to develop. Well, news today, there's another new model. It's called Tiny Zero, if you can believe it, that they developed this model for $30. $30. How does it go from 100 million to $30 in just weeks? That's absolutely incredible that the pace of change that we're seeing here in this space. That said, let's focus now on generative AI and ChatGPT for management consultants. If you could just forward the slide, that'd be great. So just in the time that we have, I want to talk about what is ChatGPT and what just capabilities overview, the pricing. We just go through this very quickly, Gisette. Again, there's just so much we could talk about here, but a couple of things I want to talk about for those of you who don't know, of course, just what ChatGPT is, and that is a large language model. You could just move ahead the slide, Gisette. That would be great. And was developed by OpenAI, launched in November 2022, and it just launched this tidal wave, this tsunami of artificial intelligence, natural language processing, machine learning, machine vision, even in physical robotics, embodied AI in ways we've never seen before. We could hit the next slide. That'd be great, Gisette. So that was the trigger foundation. And on there's all these amazing capabilities like natural language. You can talk to the robot in real time. You can generate essays and codes and emails. You can browse the web. You can create images from scratch. You can upload Excel spreadsheets and do all this incredible advanced analysis. Just flip it forward through that you said. That'd be great. So everyone knows about these key capabilities moving forward. There's a number of pricing models that they have. Like, it's free, of course, which is the basic model. But the one that I have, and to be honest with you, I think every management consultant should look at, and that's the pro version, which is like $200. And what that pro version allows you to get is the latest model, which is O3, which just came out. But more importantly than that, they have a new feature. It's called Deep Learn. I don't know if anybody's tried it out, but it is unbelievable. You'll have someone like Tyler Cohen. I don't know if you know who Tyler Cohen is, but he's one of the most preeminent economists in the world, and he's raving about it. And he was just saying this is just unprecedented clarity, accuracy, math, coding, knowledge-based writing. We've never seen anything like this in the history of the world. So $200 a month, I think that's a wise investment for you to use that as an assistant for you to help with all kinds of management consulting tasks. Next slide. That'd be great, you said. So also you're looking at the live video and screen sharing tool that people don't know about. So you can not only upload information, you can type in information, you can talk to it in real time, but on your phone, you can highlight that and your video will work. So as you're walking around, and you could be walking on a shop floor, you could be looking at a financial statement, you could be looking at a store in the interior, and you're looking at the shelves and just saying, okay, ChatGPT, you tell me, how could we make this a better ergonomic experience? How could we make this a better customer service experience? How can we improve the lighting, the signage, the safety? It just goes on and on. So you have this real-time robot that can literally see, hear, speak, think. Unbelievable. So that is your new assistant for that's part of the capabilities of ChatGPT. If you can move that forward. Next slide, that'd be great to set. Another element that people don't know about too is called Canvas. So what you do is you can draft an article, you can draft a proposal, you can draft whatever you want. And then what you can do is you can go through word by word, line by line, paragraph by paragraph, and just say to the robot, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make it longer? How can I change the reading level? How can I polish it? It is another feature that people do not know about. So it's not like Grammarly, it's not a spell check. It's this real-time collaboration tool that will elevate your thinking and your writing and your creation to a whole new level. So that's Canvas. Check it out if you haven't done so, be it whatever. And then they also have the Builder tool, where you could create your own GPT, your own customized AI robot. And you look at the ArriveCan app, which costs I don't know, tens of millions of dollars. But with this GPT Builder, you can build your own AI app in minutes for just the cost of even the subscription, which is just the basic subscription is like $20. So you are now an AI builder. You are now in the business of creating applications, even though you may have no programming experience whatsoever. It's just drag and drop, point and click, copy and paste, and you're good to go. So check out GPT Builder. That's one of the great tools. If you can move forward on that, that would be amazing, Gisette. And they also have a tool called Tasks. And this is very similar to Google Alerts, where I don't know if anybody here's you Google Alerts, where you can just type into Google Alerts, I want you to search for this bit of information and then update me about the latest information on that topic every day, every week, every month, whatever you want. But that's basically what Tasks is. And that's another great tool that you can use just to tap in and get these reminders. You do daily research, you want to get continual updates. That's a great tool that you can look at with Tasks. Move forward, you said that'd be great. Okay, and then this is a brand new tool that also came out just about a week or so ago. It's called Operator, and what it does, you just give it a task, and then it works on its own, and then it will look at the web and browse the web independently, autonomously, looking for the information that you're seeking, and it will complete that task that you did. So it's not, you're not just sitting there interacting with the robot. You just give it a task, you sit back, you relax, and the robot goes out and does it. It's this whole new type of artificial intelligence is called agents, where it's more the robots, you just give it a task, get it on its own. It's still, to be honest with you, it's still early days, but it's getting better and better all the time. So that's a new type of tool that accountants could absolutely take advantage of. Next slide, that'd be great, Gisette. And then, so what we've learned just so far is that all these new tools that we're talking about is that these efficiency gains are real. My productivity absolutely has increased at least 10 times at least. So you have all this market research, being able to generate proposals, doing data synthesis. All these mention you're saving so much time, but you're able to automate this kind of grunt work, and you can more focus on these just big picture ideas and these large macro perspectives on where we can go and what we could do with that client. And it frees up time for you to engage with that client, just saying, okay, listen, what are your needs? How can we look at what problems you're facing? And speaking of which, there was a question in the chat window. You could just check it out in the stream. One of the people were asking about the tariff situation between Canada and the US. What kind of opportunities were there? And I answered that there's at least 10 ways that accountants, management accountants right now could take advantage of that. And so just look for that in the webinar chat. If you could move it forward a little bit more, Gisette, we'll look at the next slide moving forward. And this, of course, this leads to my course that is available right here, right now through CMC Canada, and it's called Professional Development Course, and it's called the Fundamentals of Generative AI, Large Language Models. So it's divided in a number of sections. We talk about AI everywhere. It's this invisible revolution. It's not just the large language models. It's being embedded in all these different existing software that we already have, and being embedded in these headsets and mobile phones. So it's really important to think that AI is not just these large language models. It's ubiquitous, it's omnipresent, it's pervasive throughout our entire economy and all their different software and hardware. I also talk about the ChatGPT survival guide, just some practical tips on making the most out of ChatGPT and these other large language models. I talk about the different modes of ChatGPT. It can literally see, hear, speak, and it's not just a text-based interaction. There's all these different ways that you can engage with it. I also go on to looking at, I call it the AI Revolutionized Parade. It's over like 500 different types of AI tools, more being added all the time that you should be aware of. We also look at some of the major themes in the operating landscape that accountants should be aware of. And then we have the starter strategy, some basic steps, some basic tools, some basic tips that you should follow when you are looking at AI and incorporating that into your work, no matter where you are at your level. If you could push that forward, Gisette, that'd be great. So bottom line is ChatGPT and Tiny Zero and all this artificial intelligence and all these physical robotics, they're not just passing trends, they're fundamentally shaping and reshaping how consultants work. So you have to look at adopting AI responsibly, efficiently, ethically, to ensure better quality control and talent growth. And that will mean that you'll be better positioned to deliver superior results for your clients and build healthier and more adaptive teams.
All right, we have one question. Any discount of offer in the membership fees I will direct this question over to our membership team.
We don't offer discounts on membership fees. However, we do have the foundations program and the executive program, which Marcia mentioned earlier, which will have a discount on the courses that you can take. But membership fees are always the standard fees.
All right, thank you very much, Allison. All right, a question for Brent. What option should I choose when I use your online tool?
Perfect. Yeah, great question. So it really varies on the individual. So it depends on every person in terms of their particular circumstances. For example, are you an employee or a contractor, or do you own your own business? Are you working out of an office space or just virtually from home? So there's kind of a number of factors that'll affect what coverages you might need. But that's where we're here to help. So we're happy to set up a call and kind of go through every coverage. I know I went through them very quickly, so it's obviously tough to comprehend. So we're happy to go through each coverage to help identify which ones you may or may not need. Yeah, that'd be kind of the best way to go about it. It would vary per person. So definitely just reach out and ask. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brent. We have a couple more questions. Is CMC a regulated occupation in Alberta? So I will throw this one to our speakers who might be able to answer. I think Janine, you want to take a crack at it?
So, management consulting is not a regulated profession in itself. The CMC is a good to have, but not a need to have, unfortunately. However, the CMC title is a right. We do have a right to title, so that means you do have to be a member of the association and in good standing. So that means you have to have all of your CPD points up to date each year. In Alberta, it's 35 CPD points. And you have to sign a declaration each year saying that you abide by the ethical, our code of conduct, as well as make sure your dues are paid in full. So.
Thank you, Janine. And we have one more question. How can I join CMC Canada? I'm already a CMC member from another chapter country. So again, a membership team.
Okay, so if you go send an email to membership@cmc-canada.ca, we can put that on the question as an answer. That'd be great. We can send you the link to the form for an international transfer. And how that works is you fill out the form and you submit your resume, and then we confirm with your originating institute that you have received your designation and that you're in good standing, and then we transfer you over on approval of the provincial institute.
Perfect. Thank you, Janine, again. And I think we have no more questions, so I think we can wrap up the session for today. Thank you again to all of our speakers today joining us, Sophie, Rodney, Nancy, Brent, Max, Garrett, Mark, and also thank you to our national office staff, Janine, Marcia, Allison, for sharing your time and expertise with our members. And last but not least, thank you to Peggy Harnack, who is our marketing manager at CMC Canada, and who is watching us right now. I think thanks, Peggy, for all your support behind the scenes. I hope you found today's session very valuable and that you are inspired to explore the many opportunities CMC Canada has to offer. If you have any follow-up questions or need more information, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will follow up with an email pretty soon to to all registrants with valuable information and links, as well as the recording of today's session, which, by the way, you will find on YouTube. So if you need to rewatch it or share it with a friend, with a colleague, you might as well can do so. So again, thank you so much to everyone, and see you next time.